Fantastic. All right. And then as we do at the beginning of every one of our meetings, we do like to assign someone to monitor our meeting for DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion related issues and topics. So if we could have somebody volunteer for that, it really is just, listening. And if there's something comes up and there's a DEI focus or relevancy somewhere that we're missing, awesome, Sean, thank you. Just please bring it up. And so we can just be aware and make sure that we're covering all of our bases and making sure to be as diverse, equitable, and inclusive as possible. So thank you, Sean. She put it in the chat. So welcome everyone. Most everyone knows who I am, I think, but I'm Sandy Briggs. I work for the City of Boulder's Climate Initiatives Department. I'm also proud to be one of your co-chairs for the Colorado Composting Council. And I'm also the vice chair, actually, of the United States Composting Council's Legislative and Environmental Affairs Committee. So I try to keep that thread together between the USCC and the COCC, and of course, Recycle Colorado, and then all of you members as well. So that's me. We're just going to popcorn introductions. I'm going to popcorn it over to Jamie. I think I saw her click in earlier, and then she could popcorn somebody else, and we'll go through everyone that way. And if anyone has, in addition to their introduction, their name and their role in their organization, any kind of update that they want to share about what they're up to, please feel free. Let's just keep it to a few minutes for each person if there's something to share. So thanks all.
Thanks, Sandy. I'm Jamie Blanchard Pulling. I am the founder and owner of Compost Queen in Fort Collins. And this is my last leadership meeting or quarterly meeting because I am 36 weeks pregnant and will be going on maternity leave soon. So thank you for having me. And it's been a joy being your co-chair for the last year and a half. But things will move on, and I'm excited to see what our new leadership team has to offer. I will popcorn it over to Liz Morrow.
Thanks, Jamie, and congratulations. I'm Liz Morrow. So I am the landfill and compost manager for the city of Glenwood Springs on the Western Slope, and I will be helping the COCC leadership move forward as co-chair with Sandy, and I'm very excited about that. So thank you, and I will popcorn it over to Evan Cruz.
Thanks, Liz. Hey guys, I'm Evan Cruz. I own and operate Diverse Video and Design. We're trying to make sustainability second nature. And we're working on a big documentary this year for the Pickens County Solid Waste Center, which is exciting.
Hey, Evan, I'm going to stop you for a second. And Nikki, I'm going to stop you for just 1 second too. If you would please go down below the blue line and take the notes on the not standing agenda part of the agenda. So sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier. You know what I mean?
You got it.
All right, cool. You can just cut and paste down there, and yeah, that'd be awesome.
Want me to go again, Sandy? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, Evan, you can go ahead and share any more updates that you want to.
That's it.
And then popcorn it to somebody else. Thanks,
okay,
Nikki.
Madeline, your turn.
Hi there.
Yeah. Oh, which one?
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. I'm Madeline Green. I am the Zero Waste Coordinator at High Country Conservation Center in Summit County. This is my first time being able to make this meeting, so excited to be here. And I will popcorn to the other Madeline.
Hi, also Madeline, but I do go by Maddie Keating. I'm with NRDC. Excited to be at another Colorado Compost Council meeting, and looking forward to seeing what we talk about.
And honestly, I should have mentioned this earlier. I mentioned I'm a little slow today. I apologize. But why doesn't everybody put their hands up, their electronic hands up? And then after you've introduced yourself, put it down. And that way folks know who's done it and who hasn't. So those of us that have, leave it down. Those of us that haven't, put it up, please.
Popcorn to Danny.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Danny. I'm a business student at CSU and also a fellow, or I guess former fellow for Recycle Colorado. And I'll popcorn to Brandy.
Hey everybody, Brandy Moe, Executive Director for Recycle Colorado. It's so good to see all your gorgeous faces, and I'll popcorn it to the lovely Win.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Brandy. I'm Wynn Kalman, and I am with Eunomia Research and Consulting. And I also have a compost facility in Steamboat Springs, formerly Cowgirl Compost Co., but now See Me Compost. I will pop it to Bill Schenk.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Sorry about that glare. Bill Schenk here, Summit County Resource Allocation Park here, where we have a Class 3 composting facility. My first time being able to join as well. It just happened to work with my schedule, and I'm able to pop on right now. And we do have some exciting news. We are expanding our compost mixing pad right now. We're going from about a 2.5 acre mixing pad to almost a 6 3/4 acre pad. So we'll be able to take more stockpiles in, and more to come on all of that. I will pass it over to the great Liz Chapman. Thank you.
I think Allie is still Liz, right? Is that you,
Oh,
Allie?
yeah,
No,
Liz.
it's it is Liz. Can you all hear
It
me?
is Liz. We can kind of hear you.
I am on the road. I'm in my car. I am in my car, and I'm having trouble managing the technology while I'm in my car. I serve on the advisory board for producer responsibility, and as part of that obligation, I try to keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on, and that includes what's going on in compost for all of the Recycle Colorado and Colorado Compost Council members. And I will pass it over to Megan Eibach.
Thanks, Liz. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Eibach. I am the Product and Zero Waste Specialist for Eco Products, and I cover the Rocky Mountain region. I work with businesses to increase organics diversions and create clean streams for compost, and then also work with composters and haulers to increase acceptance of certified compostables when they are accepted. So, and I'm big fan, part of Colorado Compost Council and other things. I am also driving, so I will pass it on to Nina.
Hi, everyone. Nina Waysdorf. I am with the City and County of Denver Solid Waste Management Division. This is also my first time joining this call. I'm the board liaison for the policy committee as well on the Recycle Colorado. I'm on the Recycle Colorado board. I'm the board liaison for the policy committee. There we go. So just thought it would be a good idea for me to loop myself in, as we might have some crossover. And I also, part of my job with Denver is to oversee our curbside compost program for our residential customers. So double interested. And I will pass it to Jace. Oh, he went away. Is he here? Nikki? I'll pass it to Nikki.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nikki. I'm with Vanguard Renewables, the market manager here in Colorado. We are an organics recycling company, mostly focused on depackaging and anaerobic digestion. I will pass it to, oh my gosh, everyone's hand is down. How did this happen? Rachel Setsky.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Setsky with EcoCycle. I am multitasking because I'm working on a giant email to most of you because we just launched our State of Recycling report, our 9th annual. So fresh off the virtual presses, I'll put a link to it in the chat saying it. We're highlighting a lot of very cool things happening around the state, including some really cool advancements in organics diversion in the state. So go team. I will pass it to Brian.
Hi, Brian Loma, Cut the Plastic, Green Latinos. I I spent yesterday knocking doors in Elyria and looking inside of compost bins that were street side or sidewalk accessible and leaving notes on people's doors about how contaminated their compost stream was and inviting them to join a class that I am hosting next week on Wednesday and in GES and one in Ruby Hill on Monday. Brandy, we're still looking for more people there. Nina, I did want to say thank you for your email, letting me know how contaminated stuff was. And I've just dropped in the chat the Instagram link for the advertisement for GES. And the day before, the previous post has the Ruby Hill one. And I will pass it on to Jack.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jack Vitha. I am a special waste sales coordinator for Republic Services. And although I have been composting professionally and personally for a long time, this is the first meeting of this organization that I'm attending. So I'm excited to be here with you all. And let me see who else, if there is anybody else that doesn't have their hand up.
There's a few.
Oh, there are a few.
Probably
I
another
see.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I will pass it on to Franny.
Okay. Hi all, I'm Franny Miles. I work with Resource Recycling Systems, which is a consultancy out of Boulder, Colorado. I work from Bailey, Colorado, but I have my hand in many STEPS projects currently across the state, many of which being compost related. So that's why I'm here today and excited to, I think this is my first meeting as well. So excited to participate. And I'll hand it over to Megan Weeb.
Awesome. Thanks, Franny. I'm Megan Weeb. She, her Zero Waste Strategic Advisor for Boulder County. And our compost news is that we just released a couple weeks ago, released our final phase of our compost facility feasibility study. So that's up on our website. We had a town hall scheduled for next week. That got canceled because commissioners are busy doing other important SNAP, minimum wage, other things. But the project is continuing. That's not, yeah, that's just because of other things going on in the county. So, yeah, that's our little bit of news. I will pass it to Tom.
Hey y'all, Tom Dodd, Scraps Compost Operations Director. Small update.
Tom, I think your speaker is blocked. Maybe it's hard to hear you.
1 second.
That's better.
Better? Yeah, Tom Dodd, Operations Director with Scraps Compost, a hauler and CESQ processor in the Front Range. Just a small quick update. We did a little test pile with a lot of eco products, compostables in our CESQ piles, and just started screening, and the finished compost looks fantastic. And that's everything for me. And I'll pass it to Robbie.
Everybody, Robbie Tepperberg, Compost Operations Manager for the Auraria campus, and I will be also helping out with the COCC as your new vice co-chair. And I will pass it to Sean.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, Robbie, and thanks for stepping up to leadership. I'm Sean Bruckman, and I am with the Ground Up. And I noticed there's a lot of COCC meeting virgins here, so welcome to the crew. Thanks for being here. And I want to remind you all that as your membership comes up for renewal with Recycle Colorado next year, that you should make sure that you click the little button to join the Colorado Composting Council as well. When you renew your membership, there's a lot of great benefits, too many for me to note right now. And we're really, really happy to have everybody engaged because compost is a part of all of our bigger goal.
What my company is working on right now is implementing a big grant from the USDA CIG, Conservation Innovation Grant Program. And we are getting compost on the land to help do a big study on how to use compost. So end use of compost for different markets and how that looks in the arid west of Colorado. So working on that study, that's a 5-year study. We're starting a little bit late because of some funding uncertainties at the beginning of this year, but everything is moving forward now. So we got our first producer will be starting next spring, and then we need 28 producers in the state of Colorado. So if you have some agriculture in your area or some end users that you want get in on this program, we'll be accepting applications, and I'll be sending that out probably like the beginning of next year. So I'll make sure that all goes out. See, one of those great benefits of being a member of COCC is getting information like this sent to you. And then also another project I'm working on is doing increasing participation in the town of Eagles curbside residential organics program. And also town of Avon is doing a commercial pilot program right now that I'm helping with. So commercial organics. So it's really cool stuff happening up here in the mountains in Eagle County. And Colorado chapter is hosting a big in-person networking event in Fort Collins next Thursday, which I think I'm going to tell you more about in our compost operations training update on the agenda. But I want to let everybody here know that the COTC course in Fort Collins next week still has a couple spots available. So if you need to get somebody from your operation trained to get up to your state regulation requirements, then there is a little bit more opportunity to sign up for that. And I'll save more details about that for the agenda. Thank you. Oh gosh, now I got a popcorn. Okay, hang on. Let me look. I'm on my phone, so.
I can grab someone for you, Sean.
Thank you.
That's easier. So
Thank
Alexa,
you.
why don't you jump in?
Hello, Alexa Rosenstein, waste diversion specialist from the Denver airport. I was thinking we actually just hit a milestone of a monthly compost record in September of over 90 tons. So that is an all-time high for Den, which is really exciting. And I am also on my phone. So if Sandy, you don't mind helping me out with the popcorn, that would be great. Thank you.
I can go, Sandy. I didn't put my virtual hand up.
Right. Yeah, I was going to mention that. Kimberly, why don't you go?
Yeah, it's great to see you all. And thanks again, Jamie, for your leadership and congratulations. My name is Kimberly. I'm with Compost Colorado, and we are based in the Denver metro area. I'm the member services director, and some exciting news. We hired our first director of processing in September. And we are wrapping up all of our yard waste events this Saturday, and it's been really exciting. We've been able to offer our own compost. We're calling it a bonus soil dividend. We typically do a soil dividend in the spring, but we've been able to do a little bonus this fall with our members. So that's been really great. I will also be stepping up and working with Robbie and Sandy and Liz as co-vice chair. And I'm going to hand it over to Rutger.
Hey everybody, my name is Rutger Myers. I am the director of compost for EcoCycle in Boulder. We're working on a lot of things, one of which is a small scale on-farm pilot program using food scraps from Boulder Valley School District. And I will also be the treasurer for this year for the COCC. And I will pass it to Caitlin.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Caitlin Farkas. I'm the Waste Diversion Coordinator for Western Resilience Center. Formerly Yampa Valley Sustainability Council. We recently rebranded around a month ago, based up in Steamboat Springs. And I will pass it over to Sarah.
Thanks, Caitlin. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Hernick. I'm the Rural Outreach and Technical Assistance Specialist with the Colorado Circular Communities, or C3. So we provide funding and technical assistance to communities and organizations throughout Colorado to implement circularity projects. So compost is a big one. Like Franny said, RRS is working on a lot of STEPS project. Our program C3 runs or manages that STEPS program. So that technical assistance for local governments, K-12 schools, and tribes. But we also have funding for nonprofits, businesses, really, you name it. We have something for everyone. So happy to be here. I think this is my first composting council meeting. So thanks for having me. And I'll toss it to Julie.
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Julie.
Great. This is Julie Mock. Sorry I'm driving everybody, but I'm here with Madeline Felch. We're from Elements Mountain Compost down in Salida. I've been the treasurer financial liaison for COCC for the last couple of years. And our update is we are in like leaf and yard waste collection season, so doing a ton of that. We have our free leaf drop event coming up on Saturday, and we're also doing a biochar demonstration burn that same day, so it'll be a fun day of tours and things at the compost site. And then we also recently submitted a grant for a bagging machine, so we're excited to get into the, well, maybe we're excited to get into the bagging space. We'll see. Thanks.
Allie?
Hey everyone, Allie Buzeski, Operations Coordinator, Recycle Colorado. And if Jace is there, I'll let him go next.
I'm here, although I probably will be off and on. We're getting a heat pump installed at the moment. Jace Driver, Compost Lead, CDPHE. Hey everybody.
All right. All right, did we hit everybody? Speak up now if you have not spoken yet, please. Excellent. Well, I am really, really excited to hear that there are so many fresh faces on our screens now. That's awesome. Thank you all for being here. And I wanted to give a particular shout out to Sean for her amazing way of describing how easy it is to join the COCC when you renew for the Recycle Colorado as well. And all of the interesting and fun plugs that she threw out there. So Sean, thank you for being our cheerleader always and remembering those important things. And thank you all for being here. So I think we're going to jump right in then to our main event of the show. Danny O'Connor, as she introduced herself, is a fellow or was a fellow from CSU who has been working with Recycle Colorado around composting in the state. And I'm going to let her describe all of her project to you and give her presentation. But she really is seeking some feedback from this group about what she's done, her presentation, and how she might better it, how she might flesh out her report that she's going to be submitting soon on this. Just really wants the benefit of all of these widespread voices in Colorado that we have on this call. So please take a listen to Danny, who is now sharing her screen. And Danny, I'll let you take it away. And if there's anything I can do to help along the way, just holler.
Thanks, Sandy. Okay, so like I mentioned before, I was a fellow for Recycle Colorado this summer. And so I wrote a final report with my findings and future recommendations. And so this is just kind of going over that. I will also share the actual report after this. I didn't want to share it before because if there is information you're looking for or clarifications I can make, I want to be able to make those edits before I send it to you. So once that's done, I'll send you the final version. So just a quick overview. I'll do a project overview for those of you who are new, the lessons learned and future recommendations, and then I will leave time for Q&A at the end. But if there's anything that comes along, especially if I'm being unclear, please feel free to interrupt. Okay, so first for the project overview, the reason essentially for the project was, as all of you know, the Colorado landfills over 2 million tons of organics annually, but only about 6% are composted. So the Organics Management Plan and Organics Infrastructure Toolkit was created to guide expansion, but there was limited early engagement. So COCC was looking for targeted outreach to support communities, especially those that have low staff or budgets. And so this was my full-time project for the summer. And then the goal of the project was to use both of those, the management plan and the infrastructure toolkit, to engage stakeholders across the state to give presentations on what was in them, how they can use them, and ensure that the materials reach people who can feasibly implement composting in their communities. So before I made my plan, I did a bunch of research on other communities or other states and how they kind of deal with the same kind of situation. And what I found in the organics diversion study is that including education and outreach both is 20% more effective than policy alone. And using policy and education together could increase the diversion rate by 60%. And then education can also reduce household food waste and move households away from garbage disposal use and into composting. And then the organics management plan also identified a lack of knowledge and inconsistent messaging as barriers to composting in Colorado. I also found that Vermont's universal recycling law that's been really successful, the way they set theirs up is that they mandated, policies, but they also had a multi-year education campaign and then periodically would update it to make sure that it was still working. Then California also required municipalities to include education, outreach, and monitoring in all of their organics programs. And they've found that that has been a lot more successful, making sure that they have all three of those together. So using that, the original plan was that I was going to spend May and June learning from you all about just kind of the composting industry in general, because this was really my first introduction to composting at all. And then I was also going to plan outreach, so identify the first group of people to reach out to and give presentations. Then in July, I planned to spend the month just doing those presentations, and then in August, gathering feedback from everyone and writing my report. Didn't exactly pan out that way. What ended up happening was that May and June, I did do everything that I planned to do and more. So after I spoke to everyone and learned more, I also toured compost facilities across the state. And I spent almost an entire 40 hours just on informational calls to gather everything that people had to say. I ended up spending July through September doing a lot of the execution. It was a lot slower than I anticipated that it would be. I tried to do the first round of presentations and outreach doing cold outreach, and that did not result in any connections. All the cold outreach I did, I just didn't hear back from anyone. So in July, I reconnected with you all on that quarterly call. And after that, there was a lot of warm intros that a lot of you wrote an email with both of us on it, and not all of them resulted in presentations, but all of the contacts I made were from those warm introductions. Allie and I also started the Citizen Science Summer project as a supplement basically to the main project. So the goal was, because we weren't getting as many presentations as we wanted, we would gather information directly from businesses around Colorado and gather information on current waste practices and any roadblocks they had to starting compost. And then we wanted to create kind of like a pseudo directory for partnerships. So any farms, breweries, or businesses who were looking for partners but didn't know how, we could kind of create those connections for them. So we made a short survey. We asked for volunteers around the state to help talk to mostly breweries and farmers at farmers markets or farm stands. But that also, I'll talk about it more later. Other than Allie and I think we got only 2 responses from volunteers. Then in October, I reached out to C3 because mainly what we wanted was more people to be reaching out for their STEPS program or their grants and using those to start the compost programs in their communities. So I reached out to them with a list of everyone that I had contact with over the summer. And from that list, they said there were 7 inquiries made from those people. And then I completed the report, which is this that I'm presenting on. So we made, of those 7 inquiries made, there were 26 contacts. The 23 indirect contacts were because Brandy and I spoke to the director of the Club 20 Coalition. And so she shared that information, the presentation and all the links with all of the people in or all of those counties, and that was 23 people. So they did get the information, but because we didn't speak to them directly, I don't know how many of them actually read it and heard from it, but I do know at least one of those people reached out to C3 about their programs. Okay, so from all of that, the lessons learned, again, just to kind of position where Colorado is in the broader landscape of this, research on policy highlights a lot of common themes that budget, staffing, political will, public demand, permitting, and data inefficiencies are the biggest roadblocks to recycling or composting, or really any public policy implemented. And this is all just within the US. And then a couple other studies confirm that staffing and financial barriers are really the main roadblocks for people, which is why one of the main goals of the project was to get people to reach out to C3. Another thing that I found was that a lot of the studies mentioned that government officials are hesitant to start programs without public demand, because as one pointed out, they say government moves at the speed of trust, and trust in local government is at an all-time low. And so that's a lot of reason that, again, not just for composting, but for healthcare, and tons of other things, a lot of public officials are saying they're very hesitant to start things unless their communities are basically demanding it, because they don't want it to look bad on them. So lessons learned, there's a couple here. The first is that plans need flexibility. Once I got into July and kind of realized that the outreach I did wasn't producing a lot, we tried to pivot the project, but at that point, it was only a 400-hour fellowship, which sounded like a lot of hours at the beginning, but they quickly dwindled away. So trying to pivot once one track was set and I didn't have a lot of hours left was pretty difficult. So starting the outreach earlier, even with limited contact, would have allowed for a lot more trial and error, which going forward would be really useful to remember. Cold outreach is ineffective. I know a lot of you have tried this, and you kind of know this for yourself, but again, just reiterating, not a single cold outreach that I tried resulted in contact. And that was a lot of people. Like I reached out to a lot of towns, a lot of businesses, and not one of them got back to me. Also, identifying the correct employees was really difficult, especially during the Citizen Science Summer project. I went to a lot of breweries to ask them who I could talk to about their organic waste practices. But since I went after work hours or on weekends, a lot of the people who were working there were part-time. So either the correct person wasn't there anymore, or they had no idea who to direct me to. And that was the same with a couple of the towns that I contacted also. Like I found like the Public Works Department or someone else where I thought they might sit, and they just did not know who to point me to, which was very difficult to just find the right person. Again, something that a lot of you know, volunteers can't replace dedicated staff. The Citizen Science Summer Project was almost entirely reliant on volunteers. And so a lot of people were enthusiastic, but when it really came down to it, lack of time, lack of capacity, and lack of incentive didn't really kind of made it so that people weren't as invested in it as they could be. And so it would be nice to be able to volunteer or supplement with volunteers, but it really does require someone like full-time dedicated to this kind of project. This is very similar to the first one. Plans should include contingencies and alternatives. Again, like when the plan was made, we thought that it would be like a pretty smooth linear plan. However, if we had started something like the Citizen Science Project back in May when we were creating the other one, it would have been much easier to make that pivot or to supplement the project without spending a lot of time trying to both do the main project and create a second one at the same time. Then the last one I have here is that shared networks expand reach and efficiency. Since all of the contacts that I ended up making were through someone through one of you, it made it really obvious that that really honestly should have been my first stop. But I was trying to find a way that we could use everyone's personal or professional networks while also not putting a lot of extra work on you all, since you all have full-time jobs outside of it. So one thing I think would have been super helpful is making some kind of centralized information system, even just like a spreadsheet, like an Excel or a Google spreadsheet, where anyone can list who they know in municipalities or in businesses who they could connect to. And then also whoever is running the project could list if there's a specific business or a specific municipality they're looking for, and you can fill it in so that everyone knows who someone has contacted, and you can just add your own contacts. That way, again, it should be pretty quick. And all you have to do is list a name there, and then the person who's running the project can use that to do the work, do the outreach. So from that, some of the future recommendations that I think could be useful. Right now there are one or two open projects. The first isn't really a project, but again, just prioritizing your network contacts, because warm intros are best, and then making contact through someone you already know, it's just gonna legitimize you, especially if someone has not heard of COCC or is not familiar with Recycle Colorado. Coming from someone they do know just makes it a lot easier for them to say yes to an introduction or to a conversation. So again, this citizen science project that I keep mentioning, no one is actively doing it right now, but all of the information is still there. I automated it's all through a Google form. So I automated all of the information to be tracked on one spreadsheet, so that if this does get picked back up, either through volunteers, through you all, or from one person, it's all still there. You can keep collecting data until you feel like you have enough. But this will require a lot more than just volunteer time. I think allocating budget might be the best way, since it is a survey, even if it's a conversation. At the end of the day, it's a survey. And so allocating budget to incentivize people to fill out that survey, I think will result in a lot more people responding. People just don't have a lot of time. I also did a bunch of research into this. It is a little bit mixed, but all of the research supported pretty consistently that the best option is to offer like a small payment, like a gift card or something after completion. It found that that was a lot more useful than entering into a raffle, or like one person would get something. So even just doing like a $5 gift card, I don't know if you've ever heard of Tango Card, but it's a website you can set up. You send $5 to someone, then they can pick basically the company they want to apply that gift card to. I used it in one of my past jobs and people loved it. And we literally only ever gave them $10, and they just absolutely loved it. So that could be an easy way to do it, except you would need budget to be able to allocate to that. The other open project is the Get Composting in Colorado webpage. It's on the Recycle Colorado site. Right now, it has links to the organics management plan, to the toolkit. It has two videos that I made. One that gives just general information about what composting is and why it would be beneficial to communities in Colorado. And the other is an introduction, basically a condensed version of the presentation that I was giving to everyone that I met with this summer about what is in the toolkit, how they can utilize it, how it might be helpful for their specific communities. And then there's a bunch of links underneath. One to a webinar that Recycle Colorado put on in July, and then just to some more information about composting in general and to funding sources. And so keeping that up to date, especially if anything changes with funding or with the projects, would be really useful, because it doesn't take very much to keep it up as long as the information is up to date, and you can just keep sharing that link with anyone you know, and they can find that information for themselves and share it with other people. These are suggested projects that have not started yet, but the first would be a webinar series. People did seem to really respond to the presentations when we could schedule them with them. So I think that being able to do more by partnering with other people would extend your reach a lot. So doing something like partnering with a specific business or a subject matter expert, or even like municipalities themselves, integrating it into, if any of them already have things like the Snack and Share because when you partner with other people, you're doubling down on how much marketing reach you have, again, without having to add budget. You're also gaining that kind of legitimacy where, again, if people haven't heard about Recycle Colorado or they haven't heard of the COCC, they might hear it from someone in their town or one of their neighbors who does know who you are. And again, people are just a lot more likely to trust someone or information coming from someone that they know trusts also. And so my suggestion for this, and all of this is laid out in the report also, but my suggestion for this would be to start quarterly. So similar to the snack and share, but a little less often so that you can partner with someone who would have just something different to say, whether that's firsthand experience because they, used a grant themselves or they're a subject matter expert. And then record those and put them on the website, the Get Composting Colorado website, and ask the partner to put it on whatever they have. So if they have a website or if they share a newsletter, so that both of you are putting information out there and again, doubling your reach. Also, by keeping the focus on circular economy in some way, but having a different specific topic each time, might reach out to a wider audience and get people to come to maybe just the webinars of a topic they're interested in, or even if they come to all of them, they would learn more about circular economy, recycling, composting, just this kind of variation, because if it's always the same talk, a lot of people would be disincentivized to come to more of them. And the second and last one is a direct engagement campaign, which again is very similar to what I was doing, but everything I was doing was virtually. So I was emailing people, filling out contact forms, things like that. So I think that if someone has the capacity to drive around and like walk into a town hall and find the person sitting at a desk who can do this, even if that's just introducing yourself and letting them know who you are, the in-person connections, I think, would just be a lot more useful. Also including yourselves in town hall meetings. When I started looking into this in like August or September, most towns that I noticed have just like a button on their website saying, I would like to be included in your next town hall. And so being able to do that and then just give like a really quick presentation, again, like you don't have to convince someone to hear about composting, but while you have their attention, you'd be able to talk to them about it. There are also CSU extension offices in every county. And so whoever is in the extension office for that county will know that municipality very well. And they'd be able to tell you who to talk to, who would be interested in it, who might need help. And so again, using that local connection could be really useful. I also spoke to someone who does very similar work. They work for a land conservancy, and his job is to talk to farmers and try to get them to turn over their land after they retire to this conservancy. And he suggested going to irrigation ditch companies. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this. I had never heard of that before, but apparently that's how farms get all of their irrigation. And so everyone who owns a farm belongs to one of these ditch companies, and they go to annual or semi-annual stakeholder meetings. And apparently if you can get the main company to let you go to that meeting, you have the attention of basically every farmer in the region. So I found links to Water Colorado that has information on all of them. And then the last would be consortiums. So either farm consortiums or sector specific. I also included links to those directories that I could find in the report. So if and when someone takes this over again, they would just be able to have all of that contact information there. That's everything I have. Again, I'll share this with you. I do have my personal email on here because I graduate next month, and I do believe that they take away my access to my account pretty quickly. So I want to make sure that you all have this because this is the email that I'll use after next month going forward. So that's a presentation, but does anyone have any questions?
First of all, thank you, Danny. This is amazing, and I can't wait to read your report. Obviously, please share those slides out so I can get them in our notes as well. But we can't thank you enough for going through this and navigating all the twists and turns and the roadblocks and all that. And if anybody knows how hard getting through municipal government is. It's me because I work in it and I know it and I try to, yeah, anyhow. Just wanted to thank you for all your hard work and I can't wait to see your report. And yeah, looks like Sean's got her hand up, so we'll start with Sean. But if anybody else has burning questions or feedback to share with Danny, and let's jump in.
I just want to echo what you said, Sandy. I just thank you so much, Danny. You've just done so much work on this, and we're really, really, really grateful for all the insight you've brought. And I was going to ask when you graduate, but you just told us, and I was wondering, what are you doing after graduation? And are you looking for a job in the compost industry? And you gave us your email to get a hold of you, but are you kind of what's your next steps and what's your plan, and how would you like to stay engaged with the Compost Council? And what can we offer you to stay engaged?
So I would love to know what my plans or my next steps are. So I don't know. I don't have anything lined up yet. But I am looking in compost. I was telling Brandy this yesterday. I had never even considered it before. I didn't know anything about composting before this fellowship, but since it, I have been looking almost exclusively for jobs in circularity, or composting. That being said, again, as of right now, no, I don't have anything lined up, but I'm hoping I will before graduation, which is 5 weeks from today. So that may be asking a lot, but hopefully I will see a lot of you in that space in the next couple months. But I don't actually know what I'll be doing.
That made my heart go have a little flip flop when you said that, you weren't thinking about it before, but now all you want to do is work in composting. This makes me so happy. So
I did actually convince two of my classmates to also go into composting. So one of them, I believe, has been talking to Jamie already, and then one of them is moving back home out of state, but I also convinced her to start working in compost.
That's fantastic. Awesome. And of course, point them our way as well. The Right Cycle Colorado and for Colorado Composting Council. And I just wanted to make a comment. A lot of the parts of your presentation really jumped out at me as being really in alignment with some of the information that a smaller group of us came up with a couple of weeks ago, or gosh, it was like a month ago now, more than a month ago, yikes. At the beginning of October, some of the Colorado Composting Council members that were up in Salida for the annual meeting for Recycle Colorado joined on a meeting as well, as you know, of course, Danny, because you were there and gave a shorter version of this presentation. But a lot of what came out of that meeting and trying to create some action plans around what we want to do to be a more effective organization we're directly related to what you just spoke about too. And a lot of what we're writing into our work plan right now for 2026 are related to these topics that you brought up, as well as that align perfectly with what we talked about at the meeting in Salida as well. So there's a lot of synergy happening here, and it's a lot of excitement. I love all the new faces, and I just hope we can work on carrying these things forward as we put together our work plan for 2026. So is there anyone else with a burning comment, thought, idea, feedback, job for Danny, maybe? Any thoughts, anyone, or are we moving along? All right, well, thanks again, Danny. We gave it the requisite 5-second wait on that one. And obviously we'll have your email, of course, and we can reach out if anything comes up, but I do look forward to seeing your final report as well. So thanks again. All right, let's roll on then. A lot of the rest of our meeting is kind of regular updates and the regular kind of business meeting kind of stuff. But first, we like to start with some general updates around things that are happening right now, actually. And Sean's already still at the top of my screen, so we're going to start with her. And the compost operations training course that's happening next week in Fort Collins, which she mentioned earlier. Would you like to share some more info on that?
Thank you. Yes, I would. And so just to a lot of you already know, and I say this every time, the compost operations training course is a 40-hour course that is put on by the Compost Research and Education Foundation. It's internationally recognized. We have people from all over the world that take it. And it is a combination of hands-on activities, hands-on training, tours, site tours, compost facility tours, and classroom time where we bring in local experts, or sometimes we fly in experts from across the country if that's the best person to teach a certain topic. So making sure that we have people teaching topics that's what they do as their profession, and inviting composters to come, composters, municipalities, nonprofits, people that are in the compost realm to come and learn how to be a better compost to protect human health and the environment and make a good, valuable product that we can get back on the soil to support circular economies. So if you complete the 40-hour course, you can be eligible to get certified through the U.S. Compost Council's certified compost professional or certified compost operation manager. And also some states, like the state of Colorado, have it in the regulations that somebody in the facility needs to complete one of these courses. You don't necessarily need to complete getting certification through the U.S. Compost Council, but you do need to show that you have taken a 40-hour course of some sort. This is one of a few courses that are eligible for that requirement. So it's good. It's good that we have it here in Colorado, and our goal as a chapter is to continue to bring it to Colorado annually. We have in the past kind of had a trend of bringing it here. I think it was like every 3 or 4 years. Then we brought it last year, and we were able to bring it again this year, and we have it on slated for next year. So we're really trying to make it an annual thing here in Colorado. And the reason that we would want to do that as a chapter, from the chapter perspective, is that it is an opportunity to be a fundraiser for our chapter. And we just heard that lovely presentation from Danny. And one of her great takeaways was that you have to pay people to work, and volunteers can only do so much. And so as a chapter, we have such an incredible leadership team of Sandy and Jamie has done such a wonderful job, and we've had great leaders in the past. And now our new leaders coming on, Liz and Robbie and Kimberly and Rutger. And also thanks to Julie, who's stepping down as treasurer too. And just all the leadership that we have. But these are all volunteers who have full-time jobs, as we all do, and have given so much of themselves. And we have a wonderful leadership team, which anybody, any member is welcome to join the leadership team that meets monthly as well. But this COTC is a great opportunity for us to have an annual fundraiser, and by getting sponsors for that, that's our fundraising opportunity. So it's turning out to be a pretty significant fundraiser already, thanks to all the members that have pursued sponsorships. So it looks like we're going to have, I'm kind of giving a rough number here, but over $4,000 in our bank account just from the sponsorship opportunity. So that's huge. That's like more money than we make all year at anything else. So for a small little chapter like us, that's a big deal. And if we want to hire somebody to help execute a lot of things in our plan, this is a great way to do it. And also, all of you joining as members of the Colorado chapter, I'm going to say it again, we need you to sign up as members, because that little tiny bit, it's not a lot, but that little tiny addition to your membership is really valuable. It all adds up for us to be able to hire somebody to help Allie, because Allie is doing such an incredible job as our staff, but she is one person and Brandy is one person too. And so if we could have somebody on their team that's designated to composting, that would be really great. So sorry, I didn't even talk about the training as much, but you guys can look it up and know, and there's a couple seats left and I mentioned it. Any questions about the training or what's going on, or how people can get involved?
Hey, would you mind sharing about the Thursday night extravaganza too, please?
Thank you. Yes. So our chapter has also decided to be a sponsor and host a networking event on Thursday night. So the training is next week in Fort Collins, the 17th through the 21st. And on Thursday, the 20th in the evening at 6 p.m., 5:30 or 6 p.m., we will be having a networking event. Usually the class has a party to celebrate, like, hey, we completed this class. We're so awesome. And we really have all these new friends in the industry. And the chapter has the opportunity to host that as a chapter networking event as well, in addition, with all the students. So we'll have probably most of the students will come, or usually we get about 15 to 25 students from the class that join. and then however many chapter members that sign up. Because we do have to, oh, thanks, Liz. Liz just put in the chat that you can sign up for the training course. It's not too late, but it might be if you wait, so do it now. And we are gonna open up that networking event to the chapter, but we're gonna send an RSVP. Sorry, Allie, if this is okay. I'm gonna try to get you information by the end of the day today so that we can have you send out an RSVP with an invite to it, just so that we can get an idea, because we need to know how many appetizers that the chapter would be providing. And the chapter will provide appetizers. Everybody's on their own for drink. And if you want to stay and order dinner, it'll be at a place where you could do that. But appetizers would be provided to kind of get us all there together and have some united things over food, and your choice if you want to add drinks to that or mocktails. And Jamie is so graciously helping us pick a place because she's in Fort Collins. And once that place is confirmed, I will make sure to create an invite so that everybody can RSVP if they're going to be joining that networking event on Thursday, November 20th at 6 p.m. in Fort Collins. I think that's everything for now. Any questions?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
It's all set. Thanks, Sean. Sean's very instrumental in setting these things up all over the country, actually. It's not just in Colorado. So one of her many, many talents and jobs that she also holds. So thank you so much, Sean. So I did, obviously we've already talked about this and we've had our folks introduce themselves, but I wanted to jump on next to, officially welcome our new leadership team to the Colorado Composting Council. As a lot of you are aware, since Jamie is resigning early, and we wish her the best and we thank her so wholeheartedly and so much, we decided to do our elections early to have people step up and take over so Jamie can go and enjoy her maternity leave before the end of the year. So we did nominations, and because we had just this amazing set of nominated folks that were nominated, we decided to, rather than hold an actual election to vote for them, just make positions for everyone and do a little bit more of a lead by committee, so to say, just to kind of spread it around a little bit, get some new perspectives, and help get all of the many projects we have and moving forward. So without further ado, as you heard earlier, we do have new leadership, and I'm sticking around, so I'm still going to be here. And we don't really go too much on titles around here, but both Liz Morrow and I will be your co-chairs. And then because we had Kimberly and Robbie step up wanting to also help to lead the team, we decided to make a co-vice chair position for those two. So thank you so much, Kimberly and Robbie, also for coming, and Liz. And Nikki, thank you for madly taking notes as we are madly speaking fast. And Nikki is taking over from Naomi, who may or may not pop in every now and then throughout the next year, but we're not sure what her situation is going to look like yet. But Nikki's officially our recorder now, and Rutger is going to be taking over from Julie. Going to get a little training. I think Julie will be popping up every so often as well. She is still a Recycle Colorado board member, I think. I guess we have to wait until the results of the election come out, right? We're waiting for the big exciting, but so thank you, Julie, for your efforts and your time, and we look forward to continuing to work with you or not, depending if that's something that doesn't show up into your future next year. So again, just back to thanking Jamie wholeheartedly for all of her time and help, and wishing her the best with her new baby. So we expect some pictures, some information at some point. So
will do. Thanks, Sandy.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. All right, and then I mean, there is a lot going on, but I'm not going to highlight everything today because we have a lot. It's after 3 o'clock already. But I did want to mention and thank Recycle Colorado for diving into a whole new web platform, which I think is something that everybody should be aware of. It is a bit of a work in progress yet, as Sean and everybody mentions. Allie is just one person, and she's been working her tail off trying to get all of the information from Recycle Colorado and all the different committees and councils set up into the new platform while learning the new platform herself. So there are some other refinements that are going to get made and other information. And some of us are in our different groups are still working on, rewriting some of the copy and getting things just all looking really good. But the new website already looks really good, and it's way more easy to use. And along the way, we decided one of the first things we should change as the Colorado Composting Council is to adjust our membership levels and our names and descriptions of those levels to help to move into our next year of hopefully bolstered membership. So you can see all those links in the agenda. And actually, maybe it would be fun. Liz, would you drop the new membership level link at least into the chat or the website or something? Somebody's already on it. Okay.
Looks like Allie's got it.
As usual. So we just wanted to do a little refresh there. And we are working on refreshing a lot of our other pages and making things kind of work better together. So a work in progress, still happening, but I just wanted everybody to be aware that it's going to be it is already an awesome resource, and it'll be a lot better, I think, going forward when it comes to looking for information, which is another thing that actually, I don't think Clinton is here today. Has anybody seen Clinton pop in when I was not paying attention? It's a shame that he can't be here today because his name's on a lot of the rest of this agenda, honestly. But also he is helping Allie to develop a really comprehensive list of resources for our website where, he's made pages and pages of links to all the different places and all the different resources for the different reasons that anybody might want to have. And per Danny's report that she just shared with us as well, I mean, being that resource for people when you need to go and find a really specific piece of information, it's going to be organized in such a way that it's really easy for people to find that. So in addition to the COCC hopefully being a very beneficial organization to be a member of, it's also going to have a lot of internal resource information that people can just go and I need to know what the recipe is if I want to do this with compost, and they can just go click, 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 and there it is. So we're working on that too, and that's going to be an ongoing project as well. So since Clinton isn't here, he is the Colorado Composting Council's board liaison to Recycle Colorado. So I don't know if there's any kind of update that anyone else can share in his stead. I'll give a 5-second pause on that in case somebody wants to jump in. But if that's not the case, okay. So also then, I don't know, I know that Clinton's not here. I know that Julie and Megan are both mobile right now, so I don't know if either of them can speak, but they are, Clinton, Julie, and Megan are, I believe, still our policy committee liaisons. And if any of them are able to speak up, I would love to hear.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Hello.
Hi.
So I think we were hoping to tack something on to the end of today's meeting, but essentially the policy committee had some really great suggestions. 3 different groups had suggestions on running potential pieces of legislation for next year. But considering, if you've seen any Colorado specific headlines, our state budget has a massive deficit this year and next year. And so our lobbyist that works for Recycle Colorado was really encouraging us to not run any bills. And we're hoping for a permissive bill, which wouldn't actually change any piece of legislation, would just allow CDPHE to regulate generators who create organics waste. But that was kind of chosen not to do that. So Sandy, I could describe a little bit more now or give you another teaser, or should we just wait until the end?
I think we're good, Megan. I think we're going to have kind of a separate meeting about the policy stuff after we close this meeting. So okay. It's going to be, in fact, that meeting that you sent us out the Teams link on for that group. So okay, a little bit of a different group as well. So, but thanks for the little bit of a teaser, just kind of a high level overview of where we're at.
Okay, cool. And I guess I will just maybe give everyone a heads up. So the ultimate goal that I think a lot of us in Colorado want in the long run is to have some sort of yard trimmings ban or diversion requirement to prevent organics, especially yard debris, from going into the landfill in the first place. And so instead of passing legislation to promote that, we really want to encourage more infrastructure and more landfills to, if they don't already have some sort of compost processing spot, to consider it, because it's easier to permit, because landfills are already highly regulated. So essentially, we're trying to encourage more infrastructure across the state. So if you are interested in that type of project, feel free to join us on some more education and outreach.
Yeah, thanks, Megan. And that directly feeds into not only what we came up with at our meeting in October up in Salida about what we need to work on while we can't actually run any specific bills, but also directly to what Danny was working on. So it's all really kind of aligning again as well. So have a couple questions though. Brian's got his hands up first.
No, actually, I was going to say something else about the
Okay.
diversion aspects.
Sure.
So many of you may know that the landfill 31 methane regulations are about to get updated. Many of the landfills are going to be required to put in GCCS systems as gas collection and control systems to regulate the methane. There's been a lot of concerns about the costs of this. And so as I've been educating and communicating with communities about this, I like to remind people about HB 25-1166, the regulation that allows restaurants and food waste producers to donate their consumable food waste without landfilling it with protections legally. Many communities are not aware that restaurants should be donating their consumable food waste. And as we just pushed the finalized waste diversion plans for the universal waste ordinance in Denver County, part of that is that businesses can reduce their liability to need compost diversion services based on volume if they are donating their consumable food waste. It's a great way to keep things out of landfill and solve food security issues at the same time. The regulations are in place to protect those businesses.
Thanks for sharing that, Brian. Absolutely. We always want to feed people first, right? That's great. Nina, go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to jump back to what Megan was talking about, kind of the liaison from the policy, liaising from the policy committee. So just wanted to point out that part of the work, so while we're not planning to, or while the board of directors voted not to run a specific bill this year, what we heard from our lobbyist and kind of the vibe of the legislature right now, there's a lot of opportunity for education and outreach and kind of stakeholder and developing champions within the legislature. So that will be a focus, or that's kind of the focus of the policy committee breakout regarding organics. So just wanted to put that additional plug in.
Awesome. Thank you. That's helpful. That's our next conversation, right? Perfect. Yeah, all good stuff. And, not that policy is separate from what we do, but it's definitely a whole huge bucket of work that we're just embarking on because, of course, we're starting with the legislative session pretty much across the country now. So on all kinds of things, which I'll get to a little bit later in my LEAC update. But great. All right. So we're going to keep trucking along here. Julie is on the road, as she mentioned and I mentioned, and she is currently still our financial liaison and probably are still going to be helping with that, I would imagine, through 2026 a little bit. But as everybody that's in the notes can see, she put a note in there that she's on the road driving back from Denver. She did add some of our financial update information into the agenda, however, that folks can look at. I don't know. I'm going to give her a moment to speak if she can and wants to, however. So I'm just going to be quiet for a second and see if she clicks in.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. We have money in the bank, which is great. We've got about $30,000 in our restricted fund, and we're doing great on our budget. If Sean's predictions are correct for the sponsorship from the COTC training, we'll probably clear $8,000 to $10,000 in net revenue this year. So overall, just great as far as membership numbers and and things. So thanks everyone for bringing in those sponsorships and most of that is just to sort of set the stage for future conversations around this, potential staff position. I do think that the coming year will be a good opportunity to invest in
Uh-oh, sounds like we're losing you.
that. The return on investment is that, oh, sorry.
Oh, we got you back.
Okay. Hopefully the return on investment is that that staff person is able to bring in more funding overall. So, in the meeting minutes if you want to dig into them, but feel free to reach out to me with any questions. And then Sandy and Rucker, I apologize, I've been just slammed the last week and a half, but we will get a financial training on the books in the next couple of weeks and get that sort of transition over to Rucker done soon.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it sounds good. It's really exciting to hear that we're in such good financial shape too, because as Julie mentioned, one of the pretty much the main thing that came out of our meeting in Salida was that we really need to hire we need to pay somebody to help us with this work in order to be able to move a lot of this work forward to the extent and the amount that we'd like to. So that's really what we're going to be moving towards as well. So cool. All right, any questions to this point before we dive into the broader kind of national conversation a little bit? All right, cool. Well, so number 9 on our agenda is going to be updates around the USCC, U.S. Composting Council, and the CREF, the Composting Research and Education Foundation. Of course, is what Sean already shared with us, the COTC information about CREF, but there's also a lot of policy around these organizations, and basically our policy liaisons as the COCC are myself, Megan, and Sean. Megan and Sean are kind of tag teaming what's called the State Legislative Committee, which is a newer kind of offshoot of the United States Composting Council's Legislative and Environmental Affairs Committee, because the whole purpose of the LEAC, as they call it, Legislative and Environmental Affairs Committee at USCC, is to support legislation, whether that be state legislation or national legislation. And the point is, a lot of the legislation that needs to be not only on the radar of LEAC, but also then perhaps officially supported through letters and sign-on letters, is generated at the state level. So this state legislative committee was developed in order for people, those of us in the state chapters, to be able to funnel information to the USCC for their review and support. So nicely enough, Sean and Megan are our representatives on the state legislative committee, and the first meeting of the state legislative committee just happened, I think last week or the week before, gearing up for the 2026 legislative session. So I don't know if I can put either one of them on the spot about any quick notes
I'll give
on
a
that
quick,
meeting.
just
Okay.
super quick. Megan may
Cool.
have more to offer. She was way more engaged in the meeting, but she's driving. So I'll say this statewide meeting is super cool. We try to bring updates to all of you. It's just really interesting what's going on at all the states and what they deal with. I mean, it makes us feel kind of lucky, but also makes us realize that there's other people that have been through some of the things that we would like to go through. Like if we did want to do some kind of yard waste or incentives, seeing what other states have done, and then they look to us and we can share what has and hasn't worked with us. So it's just a great way to connect with other states. But the update from this meeting was that it was the first one, and these state meetings only run kind of in alignment with the timing of the legislative session. So we just were connecting to say, how do we want this to look? And do we want to keep doing it? And all the states said, yeah, we love learning from each other. And that's one of the benefits of being part of the U.S. Compost Council, being a chapter, is learning from other states and working together to not reinvent the wheel. So it was a pretty uneventful meeting, but just all of us, saying what's really working. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Megan
Nailed
unmuted.
it.
Yeah.
I just want to say she nailed it.
Got it. Yeah. It's great. I think it is a really great meeting to have too. And just I probably should back up for a second and explain to newer folks on this call that probably already know this, but the Colorado Composting Council is not only a committee of Recycle Colorado, but we're also the state chapter of the United States Composting Council. So we kind of have a little bit of this back and forth flow. And when we're working on the state level, we definitely need to be cognizant of Recycle Colorado's policy committee and their policy positions and make sure that we're aligning on that. A lot of time, not a lot of times, but sometimes things come up that are more on the national level or more like USCC level or more maybe not something that the Recycle Colorado Policy Committee is going to take on in a session, but it is something that we can work on as the USCC state chapter. We just have to be kind of cognizant and make sure that we're not stepping on any toes when it comes to requirements around nonprofit organizations because we're part of Recycle Colorado. So I just want to make that clear to everybody too. And it's a little bit of a nuance, it's a little complicated, but we kind of work through it as we go. So that being said, as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, am vice chair of the LEAC, the Legislative Environmental Affairs Committee. We meet every month. And gearing up for that 2026 legislative session right now, as I mentioned as well. And I just wanted to share a couple of things that we've been talking about recently in LEAC. One of them is really right. It's kind of a larger version of what we've been talking about doing on the state level is like engaging regulators through webinars and tours, mostly around things like contamination, municipal procurement, market development, odor regulations. And I was really excited to hear somebody mention biochar earlier too, because we're talking about that a little bit in LEAC too, about putting some information out there on the national level around co-production of biochar and compost, which is a really interesting field to talk about as well. One thing that's been really exciting for me recently is I I also am the liaison to what was formerly called the Regenerate America Coalition. Some of you might recognize it as the Kiss the Ground people that did the awesome movies, the Phineas and Makepeace and the Kiss the Ground movies that have both come out over the past several years. I think there's a third one coming actually too. But in any event, Regenerate America Coalition was kind of co-opted by a couple of other organizations that turned it into what's called the Regenerative Policy Institute. And they're taking a lot of the agricultural work forward at the national level. They recently, and I'm still meeting with them, and they meet every month too. I think there's other folks that might be interested and involved in this, but we all understand how close composting and soil health and agricultural practices are all interconnected. So one of the things that I've been working on through the LEAC is to make sure that those positions of the RPI, the Regenerative Policy Initiative, are getting carried forward to the USCC. And as such, USCC signed off recently on a letter that they put out there to try to get what's called the Soil Care Act back introduced again once finally the government starts working again. There's been a lot of bored people in Washington, I understand. It's been an interesting time, but the whole idea is to get this bill reintroduced because it's called a marker bill, which is a bill that is not really a standalone bill in itself, but it's part of a larger push to get the Farm Bill actually passed at some point before it's like 5 years overdue and has to be started all over again. So the Soil Care Act, I think I put some links in the agenda about this too. It's a marker bill to the Farm Bill that directs the USDA to establish a training program for biological soil health management in the NRCS programs. So we'd love for any of your organizations or you individually to sign on to the letter that's linked into the agenda as well. Because it's a really important thing that will really help to advance composting and at the national level, and hopefully maybe even get some of the other composting legislation into the Farm Bill eventually. That USCC's already actually signed on to that as well. So I just get really excited about the RPI, so that's why I talk so much about it. But there's also other things at the LEAC level we've been talking about around some legislation that's being brought forward about phasing out PFAS. So as all composters know, composters are passive receivers of PFAS, and really the only way to stop PFAS getting into compost is to stop products from containing them. So there's actually some legislation that's proposing to stop that. So we're talking about that a lot in LEAC as well. Then we always talk specifically about things happening in states. There's an action alert right now in Washington state that they're trying to revise their organics rules and focusing on certified training requirements for site operators, that the USCC is also going to provide in a comment letter. So we're excited about getting COTC rolling in Washington and as part of their requirements in Washington as they are in Colorado. Talking all the time about depackaging in Vermont because there's a lot of crazy things happening there, and I'd be happy to talk offline with anybody about that if you like. Things also that come up often are leachate management policy, and then more recently we're talking more about anaerobic digestion versus composting and what those differences are and the standards and economics around both. So that's just kind of a nutshell of things, LEAC things that I went through really fast, except for the RPI piece, because like I said, that's where my passion lies, is in this regenerative agriculture piece. But does anybody have any general questions or any thoughts on that? Any confusions that I created that anybody would like to share?
Sandy, is there, sorry, this is Liz here.
Yeah.
Is there already a draft of this PFAS legislation that would ban producing it, or is this still more in the ideas phase?
I believe here's the draft. It's called the Forever Chemical Regulation and Accountability Act.
Okay.
I think the letter I just dropped in the chat is just like a one-pager letter on it. I can send you or anyone else that's interested. There are other links in my LEAC notes somewhere that actually have the bill draft in it. Yes. So.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I can probably find the draft by Googling that. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, you bet. Anything else on that, anyone? Okay. I'll just keep talking then, I guess. Let's see, where are we? Oh yeah, it is in the notes, or somebody else, or either that or Nikki just already put it in there because she's on top of it. Okay, so most people know this already, but for the new folks on the call, there are a lot of other different kind of committees and coalitions and partnerships that the COCC tries to remain involved with. At the USCC level, Clintons are still on the Market Development Committee at the USCC level. I have Megan down still for Target Organics. I don't know if Megan wants to say anything about that for the new folks, if she can.
No real updates.
Okay.
Target Organics is trying to help municipalities increase and start composting facilities, and then also give composters resources to manage and process efficiently, etc. We're working on the marketing subcommittee is kind of restructuring, so we'll TBD.
Okay.
But no real updates.
All right, great, thanks. And I don't know for sure, and I know somebody else from RRS is here, but is Corey Ann still doing professional development? Who else was here from RRS?
Hey, it's Franny's
here. Oh, hey,
for us.
Franny, yeah.
Hey, I am unsure, but I can reach out to her and ask and follow up.
Okay, yeah, great. Because I don't think she's here today, right?
She is not.
Okay. And then Megan Jorgensen, who sometimes joins this call, also works at Eco Products with Megan Eibach, but she, I believe, still is our liaison to the Corporate Compost Leadership Council, which is part of one of the committees of the USCC as well. So just rolling through what I have on the agenda, and usually for the new folks on this call, well, this is all like the standard kind of business stuff and all the things that we're involved in. We don't always have updates to share. So a lot of times we can just cruise through it pretty fast. So one of the other things that we do as the state chapter of the United States Composting Council is Jamie and I formerly, and then now me and our other three chairs and co-chair and vice chairs will be joining the chapter meetings, which happen quarterly from the USCC. And basically the update from chapters, side of things at the USCC is that there are a bunch of new, not a bunch, but a few new chapter advisory committee members, and they're working to kind of revamp the chapter program a little bit and kind of create more greater collaboration on policy advocacy through the state legislative committee activities and the LEAC, and just try to create a little bit, and through the state chapters. Sorry, I'm not saying this very well. I didn't really put very good notes in here for myself either, did I? The whole idea is that we're a chapter of the USCC and we meet with them quarterly. And right now, I think the big push is just trying to figure out the new structure of the chapter advisory committee and how that's going to look for us as chapters going forward. And of course, talking about the upcoming big, Compost 2026 conference that's happening in Sacramento, which is the USCC's annual composting conference. So their chapters have a large piece to say about that as well. So I'm sorry, my brain's starting to get tired with my illness or whatever, so I apologize, but I'm going to keep plowing forward. So in the past, I'm not sure who it is now, and without Clinton being here, Megan's on the hot seat again, but International Compost Awareness Week is coming up. It's the first week of May, I think. And the theme this year is compost, feed the soil that feeds us. And we always try to do something around International Compost Awareness Week, or as we call it, ICAW. I know that Megan just unmuted again, so maybe she can say something about this.
Sure. So yeah, there's a couple of us. Naomi has been part of it. Wen has been part of it, and Clinton and I have kind of formed a subgroup to plan something / get the word out, maybe get a proclamation from the governor. It just kind of depends. So I don't think we haven't talked about it thus far. ICAW is usually the first week of May. So if anyone on this call would be interested in joining that little subgroup, and Kimberly too, big shout out to Kimberly. She was actually super active last year. So if you'd like to join our small but mighty group on promoting International Compost Awareness Week, whether that be just statewide or hosting an event in your community, Kimberly and I partnered. We bought some books for an elementary school about composting. So it can be really unique. It can be really simple. It can be really intricate. But maybe if anyone wants to join, you put your name, your email in the chat, and we can add you to our group and we should meet soon. Kimberly, we should meet soon.
I agree. We will. I owe you some emails anyway.
And that actually brings up something that Evan and I had been talking with a new person about, potentially doing some, I'm not sure exactly what this might look like yet, but a gentleman reached out to us that wanted to offer us some free promotional videos and interviewing and things like that we might be able to use for COCC membership and promotion. And I had suggested to him that maybe ICAW is a good week for that sort of thing, or for us to prepare something for ICAW. So we should put him in touch with you all too. So
I love that idea.
Yeah.
That would be great. And I guess I'll also add, ICAW usually publishes some social media assets and just some marketing content. So keep that in mind if you work for an organization where you have at least a say or can encourage sharing of those assets, because that has been a kind of again, super low hanging fruit campaign where we all that week, lots of organizations are sharing the same image, the same meme, the same content at the same time. And we're hoping, that kind of stuff is pretty simple. So keep that in mind too.
Yeah, totally. I know on their website they have a plug and play, media packet that municipalities such as mine. I always ask my communications folks to do some social media posting along the lines of the plug and play packet that they provide. So it really is, like Megan said, low hanging fruit. So let's get the word out there. And it doesn't always have to happen that week either. But all right. Anything else about ICAW anyone wants to ask or share? Okay. Some of the other organizations, partnerships that we have are listed under number 10. Is there anything to share around Healthy Soils Initiative? Either Sean, I don't even know. Oh, hey,
I'll
Clinton
share
is
real
here.
quick. Oh,
Okay.
Clinton's here. Hi, Clinton. I was
Yay.
going to say, Jess and Clinton have been working very diligently on getting ready for our COTC next
Yep.
week. So Jess is not here, but she has been texting me because she's dropping off the feedstocks right now. So I know those guys
Awesome.
are working really hard. So they get a little bit of a pass for not being here today.
Okay.
I'm here.
You're
I
here.
apologize.
We'll come back to your stuff, Clinton. We got a lot.
That sounds
We got you on
great.
the list a lot. I'll just say on Healthy Soils real quick. The Colorado Healthy Soils program does not have the funding that it used to have due to some changes in federal funding this year. However, it is still there. It just doesn't have any money. And what they are doing is what the Colorado Department of Agriculture is doing is putting a lot of energy into a tax credit. So there is a tax credit that agricultural producers can get for implementing soil health practices on their land, and applying compost is one of those things. So if you are a composter and you have connections with agricultural producers who want to use your compost, there's a tax credit that they can use to help get paid for that. That's all for now.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. We could probably find a link for that tax credit. I bet Robbie you sent me an email about that this morning, right? If you can find a link to that program, will you pop it into the notes? That would be awesome. Excuse me. Okay, so I see that Megan had put that there's no update from RCAB, and I don't know, Brian, is there anything to share from Good Business Colorado? Are you still our rep there? Is Brian still?
Yeah, thanks for I should have thought about an update. We just celebrated our Level Up Academy couple last weekend, and celebration, which I did not get to attend because too many things at once. GBC also has a new membership portal, and we are encouraging people to re-up their memberships there as well. There is room on the policy committee, I believe, as I understand. And no, other than that, I don't have anything directly and specifically from GBC. Although that we have regular activities going on. Check out our website. Lots of gatherings have been happening over the last couple of months as we've transitioned to Donnie, who has been on with GBC forever, in the role of our acting ED. And just looking forward to the next policy year. Also, I had to step off the call for a second because Senator Carter called me, but I saw that, Sandy, you put something in the PFAS. I made a comment, so I'm making sure that the note taker, whoever's doing that, can grab that before the call ends. Thank you.
All right. Thumbs up. Thanks, Brian. All right, cool. Jamie, is there anything you want to share from the CCC? Have you been connected much lately?
No, they're still holding monthly webinars for members, which is great, but they're gearing up for to be at the Compost 25. So that's a big push for them.
Definitely. Yeah, just to what Jamie was saying, the Community Composters Coalition through the Institute for Local Self-Reliance holds their own annual conference every year, and every other year they tack it on to the beginning of the United States Composting Council conference, because of course community composters need to be part of that conversation all the time too. So they are currently planning to have their conference like the first 2 days overlapping the first day of the COCC or the United States Composting Council's conference too. So lots of conferences. So yeah, they're keeping busy with that. And you are right. I don't know how many on this call are members of the CCC. I'm kind of an honorary member as a municipality, but I'd love to go to their monthly meetings. They're really interesting oftentimes about different aspects that you may not get the chance to learn about or hear about there. So, but you have to join up in order to be able to go to this. So think about joining the CCC as well. Thank you, Jamie. Let's see, where are we here? Clinton is now with us. So we had to skip over some of your stuff earlier. In terms of mostly being our liaison to the RC board. I don't know if you want to say anything about that first, but then we're at the bottom part of our agenda where a bunch of the things that you're involved in are there. If you have updates, great. If not, don't worry about it. But things like the, compostable material certification bodies, our architects friends, the IC3 stuff, and of course EPR.
Yeah, let me just, because the time is of the essence, I apologize everybody for not being in here sooner. I just want to tack on to two things. EPR related, just so everybody is aware, there is a solid waste, or let me say this correctly, sorry, Hazardous and Solid Waste Commission meeting happening next week, November 18th, and they'll be reviewing the eco-modulation rulemaking that they've created for the EPR, which does include certified compostables and some definitions around compostability and some benchmarks for compostables. Eco-modulation is a way to produce incentive or a malus around a type of packaging. So it's for the compost for COCC. If you're if you accept certified compostables or are looking to accept them, it'd be wise to better understand what some of those eco-modulation parameters are. So everything that you would want to know about this is on CDPHE's website, and I'll put that in the link right here. And yeah, I'm going to go down and talk about a few things that I have some concerns around personally. I'm being the compost manufacturing liaison for that for the EPR. So yeah, that's really important to know that's happening right now. And also just on EPR guys, and Rachel knows a lot about this too, and so does Brian, but they have CDPHE did submit some responses to CA's program plan. And then CDPHE has until December 12th, or yeah, they have till December 12th to approve or reject the program plan. So we're just waiting to see how CAA responds to the recommendations that CDPHE provided. And then we'll see what happens. So it's exciting, lots moving. It's going to start moving even faster as we get towards the end of the year. Yeah, so but there's not just me, there's a lot of people or a handful of people on this call that are pretty well informed around the EPR if you have any questions. The other exciting thing that I want to tell you guys about on a national level that's going to directly affect us and COCC could have some participation in is the sorry for all the acronyms, yell at me if I'm saying too many acronyms. United States Composting Council was awarded a grant through the Environmental Protection Agency in partnership with WWF, ReFred, and a few other groups. And the part that USCC gets is a $2.3 million grant to support a toolkit the toolkit could be a lot of things here, guys, but it's all about end market development for finished compost outside of agriculture. So municipalities, residential homeowners, businesses, institutional, university, all that. And it's putting together a toolkit. It's not, toolkit's the wrong word, but it's putting together a large digital resource so that municipalities, you name it, have a place to go to understand, how do I write an ordinance? How do I write policy, state policy? What are the beneficial uses of finished compost? What are specification requirements for Department of Transportation that I can give them so that they can use finished compost? So over the next 5 years, they will be developing and launching this end market development program. It's pretty exciting. There'll be a project manager and then 2 people underneath them, and they're going to actively go after this, which is really cool. But they will be, yeah, I like the little celebrations there. But stuff like that, like EcoCycle has worked on just recently, are great examples of model templates that can be distributed, and we can bring it all together so that we have these resources to develop these end markets. So I'm really excited about that. We thought it was gone, it came back, and you'll hear more about that soon. But I'll leave it at those two things for now.
Fantastic, Clinton. Thank you so much. That is such great news. And yeah, and EPR is about ready to hit the major fast ramp, right? In another month or so. Like, woo,
Well,
here we go.
Still waiting to see how everything turns out, but
yeah,
things are moving. Things are moving quick.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, Brian, I saw your hand up earlier. I didn't know if you had something you wanted to add about EPR or if you wanted to throw Rachel into the mix and let her update on EPR and FAMB.
Yeah, she has a better knowledge at this point.
Okay. Rachel, do you mind if I throw you on the hot seat? And I'm going to step and grab some more water, but I'm still listening. So.
Sorry, my computer is dinging at me. I just heard Clinton's update on what's going on with EPR, so I'm not quite sure what exactly updates you want me to add to that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rachel. I put it in the chat specifically because there's been this urgent action under the free allocation in the last 24 hours. The industry is fighting.
Right. I don't know if that's really a COCC
Yeah,
issue.
you're right.
So
maybe it's not. I'm just juggling through things at once.
Right here. Yeah.
Yeah. I would. Yeah.
Since I have the microphone, I will switch just to another real quick topic that I think most of you know. Greater Colorado Council, we're really excited to partner with COCC, and some of us here are going to be planning a joint presentation in January to talk about how to divert organic material from landfills, particularly in rural counties. I know that was totally out of left wing, but super excited about that. And I appreciate that some of you all are going to be helping plan that.
Super important for you to bring that up. Thank you. In fact, did we set that date already? And if we did, would you add it to our upcoming events and meetings listing right there?
We have a tentative date for the January event, so I don't want to add it yet, just in case that changes.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. Okay, where does that leave us? Going to stop and pause for a second. We've gone through a lot. These meetings are pretty beefy, I understand, and we talk about a lot of wide-ranging different things. And we have a lot of, since we have so many new faces today, I just didn't know if those new faces had any thoughts or questions. I want to put anybody on the spot, but if anybody has anything that they want to bring up or share or isn't clear, or ideas, suggestions, jokes, stories, anything you want to share. Just want to get, we have a little bit of time left, so so far so good.
Since we have a little bit of time.
Wait, Rachel, I'm going to go real quick. Sandy, you guys already talked about the COTC and everything, right?
Right. Yes. A couple of times. Yep.
Okay. Fantastic. That's next week. That's next week. Next week.
Yep. Next week.
I'm excited.
For sure.
It's a good one.
And then before I give you the floor, Rachel, just everybody can see again on the notes, if you're looking at them, that is, that upcoming meetings are, of course, the COTC next week. The compost conferences, both the Community Composters Coalition and the United States Compost 2026, both happening early February 2026 in Sacramento. And then, of course, we talked a little bit about ICAW, which is that first week of May. And there'll be more coming on that, too, as the ICAW folks talk about how we're going to celebrate that. So, and then our next quarterly meeting will be on February 17th, as far as I know. Same time, but back to our normal day, which is a Tuesday usually. I appreciate everyone coming today. Normally our meetings are on Tuesdays, but it was supposed to be next Tuesday, but that was during the COTC. So we decided we needed to bump it forward a little bit. So, okay, that's it for our agenda. So I would like to open the floor to Rachel and anyone else that has anything they want to say. So
I just want to pop back to my introduction. I'm going to put the link again in the chat. Thank you so much for everyone who submitted information for the State of Recycling report. It's our 9th annual, and I am super excited this year because some of the big findings we have are that we're actually making really big progress in organics diversion, particularly On the state level, we have significant increase in woody mass that's being diverted through a couple new businesses and some community programs. And then, of course, we've got, let's see, City of Aspen and, oh my gosh, I think it's Denver. Yeah, City of Aspen has commercial numbers that are really exciting. And then Denver, of course, has residential organics numbers. And I'm looking at Liz Morrow because, of course, we had to highlight your new ordinance that bans organics from landfills because that's super exciting too. So totally recommend checking it out, skimming it at least because it's got some fun pictures in it. But yeah, yay, let's celebrate our state.
And Rachel, do we go up from 15.5% to 15.7%?
We sure did. We're still in that 15%. But if you dig down a little bit, then you get into some more positive.
It feels better to round up. I was feeling sad. It was like 15 and a half. We'll call it 16. But now I feel like we're 16%.
We could be a solid 16 now, right?
Almost.
I know that's your thing, Evan. I love that you bring that up every time too. So,
I'll take it.
All right.
2% or 0.3% rather.
Okay.
Oh wait, that's 2.
What am I? Sorry, Evan. What?
Nothing. Never mind.
Okay, I missed it. I apologize. Scrambled brain. And there's another. There's some of us are going to be popping to another meeting to talk a little bit more detail about policy issues here shortly. Oh, sorry, Liz. I just saw your hand.
Oh, all good, Sandy. I just wanted to say, since we have 10 minutes left, I know a lot of us do updates on the same things all the time because we're constantly working on these things. I just wanted to see if in the last 10 minutes, if any of our newer listeners and attendees would be willing to chime in and tell us what they're working on. And if they're not, then they won't. But if they are.
I'm going to be at the COTC next week, so whoever might also be there, I am excited to meet you in person.
Fantastic. It's great. Just leaving that awkward silence.
I'm not working on this, but I want to bring this. Well, I guess I am, and I am working on this. One thing I'm excited about the COTC training next week, guys, is we're going to have a compost blower spreader out at Keensburg, a commercial one that's going to be spreading out compost. And it's so important to continue to build opportunities to show how compost can be used and the devices to do it. So honestly, I'm really excited. It's a simple little thing, but I'm really excited about it because it gets towards that end market goal. So excited about
Clinton, can I ask a question about that? So maybe at the annual meeting, I was hearing a couple people from different parts of the state talk about how use in ag isn't just like a generic thing because you've got obviously like vineyards are very different than like rangeland. Is that kind of machine, or are there others that we can really lift up and kind of like shine a spotlight on that would help to understand how different types of ag folks could use compost in different ways?
I feel like you're asking two questions, meaning one, the type of equipment you can use to spread finished compost, or the type of application and type of compost you would use for different agricultural markets.
I think I'm talking about the equipment and the process. Because if your barrier is, oh, I've got X type of agriculture, therefore it's going to be too hard to spread. Do we have an answer to that? That like, no, you could use this type of machinery or that type of machinery.
It's a great question. And this is what's really interesting, especially for the smaller operators, they can really speak to this as well, is that all of the equipment in the composting industry is retrofitted from other equipment, except for one piece of specific equipment, which is a turner. The turner was designed for the composting operation. All the other stuff is equipment coming from different types of industrial type processes that are getting retrofitted and used. So on the spreading side of the world, there is different types of either self-driven or attachments that attach to your traditional farm tractor that can be used to spread compost either from a point of like you can blow it. So like you're spreading out to large fan. You have spreaders that do fan spread. You have drop spreaders that can be very, very specific and drop the finished compost at an even layer and an even process. You even have side shoots that can, just like in an orchard, they'll side shoot out and just follow the follow the trunk line, and you can turn it on and off, on and off, on and off, so you can directly support where you're trying to apply the compost. So yeah, we're getting there, and the size of that equipment can vary from the end market. Is it residential, commercial, large scale agriculture? So it's coming, and yeah, there's a great opportunity to learn a lot about this at the COTC training next week, because there's a whole section on it. So just a heads up there.
I'll segue from there if I could. My announcement is I'm gonna be filming a little video for the CREF for the COTC, for the for the compost operations training course. And yeah, we're training for myself to be able to take it the next year in Colorado, so I won't be able to glean all those awesome spreader shot. I'm not gonna be able to get to see the spreader in person this year, but hopefully it's there next year.
I'm so glad you said that, because as Clinton was talking, I was like, I'm picturing videos of Joe Rutger's been talking about the project he's working on at the reservoir, about how easily they've been able to do it because they already have the equipment. I feel like lifting that up, that it's easy to do it with the equipment you already have, and then just like these how-tos. So
coming soon.
Evan, I'm gonna get you some good B-roll, buddy.
That's right. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Just don't get your camera covered in compost. Or maybe do.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I would like to one more time give and maybe I wanted to say thank you again to Jamie and to Naomi, who's not here, and to Julie, who might have dropped off as well. Julie, I don't know how much she's going to still be around, but Jamie, we wish you the best, and we love you, and we'll miss you, and we'll still see the Queen and the.
I'll still be around. I'll still be around. You'll see me.
Yeah, you're still a member, right? Yeah.
I'll be a COTC next week.
Yeah, awesome. And then of course I want to thank all of the new leadership that stepped up, Liz and Robbie and Kimberly and Rutger. Really sweet that we're going to have this team working on things going forward too. And then one last final shameless plug. Don't forget to renew your Recycle Colorado memberships and do the same, or join, and same for the COCC. Renew or join both organizations, and we'll continue our good work together. So
I will follow that plug with, that's a great plug for your organizations as individuals. If you get meaning out of your Recycle Colorado and COCC engagement, please remember Colorado Gives Day, and COCC, you have to give through Recycle Colorado. Please support.
Correct. All right. Anything else, anyone?
No, thank you, Sandy.
Yeah, thank you all. I'll see some of you on the next call, but the rest of you have a great rest of your day and week, and we'll look forward to the next one. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
You too. Thank you.